Don't be late. Gonna move you all night long till a whole lot of shaking going on. 'Cause I'm a wild, so I would. Baby, I'm a wild one. Oh, we're gonna keep it shaking, gonna keep it moving, baby. Don't you cramp my stop, well, I'm a real wild shot.
A year ago, Broadway didn't know Levi Kreis, but that soon changed thanks to his electrifying, and people overuse that word, but it's actually true in this case, performance as Jerry Lee Lewis in Million Dollar Quartet. Here today, Levi Kreis. Welcome.
Hi. Welcome. Good
How's
to
it
be
going?
here.
And you brought an accessory.
I brought my partner in crime, Miss Genevieve. She's been trying to go out for the role of Diane in Million Dollar Quartet for a year now. she's the understudy.
Awesome. How long have you had her?
For about a year or so. She actually belongs to my partner and his ex, so we split her. 6 months here,
Adorable.
6 months there, yeah.
What kind of dog is that?
She's Chinese crested.
Okay. A lot of grooming involved?
Well, she doesn't really grow any hair other
She's
than
naked.
up here, so it's a pretty easy grooming task, I think. Right, Jen?
I want to talk about your partner because the biggest news of your career is not that you won a Tony Award, but that you were named the Broadway star that Broadway.com readers would most like to have as their Valentine. Did you know this? Did you know this happened?
Yeah, I did. Well, it's like I came to work this week and someone had told me about that.
Did you vote? You didn't vote for yourself?
No. We had one of the cast members kind of tell me at work and say, oh, you know that you're da-da-da-da-da. And he put it on Facebook and stuff. And I tell you, I have some fiercely loyal fan base, though. These are the same fans that have voted my videos #1 on MTV, the same fan base that have voted my videos on Logo #1. So all they need to do is get just a hint of what's going on, whether it's Broadway.com, MTV.com, wherever it is, and it's kind of like, don't F with me, fellas. You know, I wouldn't want to screw with my fan base. They're pretty fierce.
Well, it seems only appropriate for them to know what actually did happen on Valentine's. I mean, they all wanted to spend Valentine's with you, so tell me about your Valentine's Day.
It was pretty uneventful, actually.
Really?
I think that it was a much-needed decompression time. It's been such a nonstop run with these last 3 years that you know, every moment of not having something to do is you know, a welcomed and rare event.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you've been with your partner for how long?
For a year and a half.
Cool.
Yeah.
What does he do? Is he in the business?
Yeah, he's actually a 3-time Billboard charting artist himself, a recording artist. And we've been doing tour dates together on every Monday. On our days off, we've been actually touring.
Pub?
Yeah, I've been touring my current album, Where I Belong, and he's been touring his album, along with a third independent recording artist. So on Mondays, we've been, you know, we do 8 shows a week here, and then we fly to DC or Baltimore or Philadelphia or Montreal or wherever the case may be to stay proactive about that side of it, because I think, you know, it's very difficult to juggle both of them, but you have to.
I had no idea you were doing that this whole time.
Yeah.
So you must be exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a good thing because, you know, it's an entirely different experience. With Million Dollar Quartet takes us back to that comfort food that we all love and that we listened to growing up. I know that my mother introduced me to Jerry Lee Lewis's music at a young age. It's an entirely different experience to go and play like the Apollo Theater in Chicago and sell it out with just me and a piano and intimate stories about my personal life. It's the other side of the coin that a lot of people in New York haven't had the opportunity to see yet.
Mm-hmm. So you think your boyfriend appreciates the fact that he's with this very desirable Valentine?
I think that he thinks it's as silly as I am, frankly.
So now you announced you were leaving Million Dollar Quartet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is it time? You've been doing this show for an extremely long period of time.
Yeah, I've been workshopping this show since 2004. So, it's been the only job that I've ever had where everybody that you work with, and I don't say this because we're doing an interview and I'm feeding you lines.
Right.
It is sincerely the most loving, supportive, non-competitive, wonderful family of people I've ever worked with in my life. And that's the main reason that I have been with it for so long. And it's a testament to how wonderful this team is, to be able to be with it for 6 years and love every minute of it, you know?
So to win a Tony and to beat a bunch of sort of Broadway people, I mean, you sort of came in, people didn't really know you.
No. Yeah.
So did that mean a lot to you?
I knew a lot of some of the Broadway people here because we had, crossed paths in Los Angeles, whether it was working at Universal Studios or Disney or, whatever the case may be. Eden Espinosa's someone who I really admire her talent, and I worked with her at Universal Studios years ago.
What kind of stuff did you do?
We did the Beetlejuice show together, me and Eden.
Who'd you play?
Dracula. Yeah, dancing part and all. Yeah, you should see me do the running splits. It's quite a sight.
So did you want to be an actor? Is this you sort of have these two worlds?
Well, acting is something that I inadvertently fallen into, and it's an interesting story because I have done my own music since I was 12 years old. I had my first album at 15 and was touring the country every Sunday at a different church, when it ended up being different venues and whatnot. And I moved to Los Angeles. And during the first week there, I was staying on the couch of a girlfriend of mine, Stephanie, and I looked over and I saw this Backstage West magazine. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't an actor. But I thought, well, this is an interesting way to spend my first week in a brand new city. I would love to see what these actors do when they get off the bus and they go to a cattle call. I know what a cattle call is, and here's one right here on the page. I hadn't heard of this thing called Rent. But I think I'll give it a shot. I don't have a headshot or resume, but I can sing a little. And so I was 167th in line at a cattle call for Rent on the West Coast, and ended up 6 callbacks later getting a call for the role of Roger in the Benny Company.
You played Roger.
And that was my first introduction to acting. And that particular experience didn't last very long, and it was funny because when they called me for the role, I argued with them and I said, I can't hit these A's that Roger hits. I know what I can hit. Give me Mark. And it was really funny because they argued with me. They said, no, you can do this. You can do this. Well, you won't have a problem with the A's. Well, eventually, 3 months in, obviously, I was having problems hitting the A's because I wasn't working with them anymore. But what happened was I discovered my love for acting, and I brought that back to Los Angeles after being with the Benny Company for 2 months and found my way into film. And really loved that, and discovered that I had some natural instincts that I needed to just be aware of and maybe nurture and hone in on. Mm-hmm. And that was sort of the beginning of the process for me.
Did you always know that you would be an out artist? Did you always know that you would be open about your sexuality?
No, I went through. I had courted or been signed with 8 major labels. 8 major labels with some of the biggest major people in the industry. And I honestly felt that when the last one did not go through, that perhaps the reason that they did not know what to do with me was because I wasn't truly being authentic with myself. I honestly think that the special sauce to artists, to a theater piece, to a movie, is to feel that the soul has authentically been communicated in one way or another.
Right.
And I wasn't being authentic with these major labels. I wasn't out. I wasn't, telling my story. And I think it's until we finally decide to tell our story, then people begin to really hear us, And
you came out and you started releasing your own albums.
I did. I left Atlantic Records with $200 in my pocket and an episode of The Apprentice that was in the can, and I had signed a confidentiality agreement for 6 months. I knew that I had this little 7 minutes of singing on this episode. I went to a studio in New York City, and I asked if he would let me sit down at the piano and just play and sing one time through, 8 songs. I'll be out in an hour. Just, here's my $200. Mm-hmm. He agreed, and so I sat down, and from track 1 to track 8, sat and just played the album all the way through one time and got out of there. And with the help of a friend setting up a website so that people who could hear me on the episode could find my product,
okay, right.
I put together this little $200 CD. And once that little 7 minutes aired, I was ordering 1,000 a day. Crazy.
Can we talk about this? I love this.
Genevieve?
I want to talk about this.
Okay.
So this is one of your album covers.
Yeah, that's the second studio album. That was the one after my little $200 CD.
Now this is you as. So what's the inspiration behind this little piece of art?
The concept of the gospel according to Levi is my own internal struggle with religion versus sexuality.
Right.
What I have begun to find is the perfection of who we are. And I actually look back now at the teachings of Christ, and seeing him more as a master teacher rather than the savior of a dying, worthless world. I see that the message of Christ, at least for me, my own interpretation, and there's people who are going to disagree with me, is that when he tells us that I and the Father are one, he's trying to tell us we are one with the Father. We are one with God. And to me, that was my statement of that. And it was a statement that I got so much hate mail from that album cover.
Did you pose for that, or is that just a...
I did not pose for that.
Just a basic representation?
No, an incredible artist by the name of Joe Phillips who does this kind of artwork. I had seen a couple of books of his, and I thought he would be great. I actually just gave him my face. He put my face on that body, so I do not claim that body is mine.
So now, you're amazing in Million Dollar Quartet.
Thank you.
And it's just one of those unforgettable performances. What's the stage door like? First of all, since you're out, are there boys and girls both sort of?
I love that our Johnny Cashlands guest says that I'm a closet heterosexual, and that he's always trying to catch me in a heterosexual moment.
And you said in your Fresh Face interview, you talked about that you do still find yourself attracted to women.
Yeah, I would not say that I'm bisexual,
right.
Because I think that naturally I want to build a life with a man. I want to build that emotional connection is more between two dudes. But the thing is, you can't deny the mystery of a woman's body and how incredibly beautiful and gorgeous it is. I mean, there's really no way around that, and I mean, I think that it all should be appreciated. I think it should all be appreciated.
Do you get any weird things from your fans?
Other than them voting on this Valentine Broadway thing? No, I haven't.
They voted a lot, by the way.
Oh, no, I haven't.
They almost broke the site.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
I like that. She was the one voting,
That's what she's doing all night.
Right, Genevieve? Are you trying to be cute? Are you trying to get on Broadway?
You're so energetic on stage in Million Dollar Quartet. Are you naturally sort of like a show-off? Is that you're sort of all over the place?
I'm not, and frankly, that's the awesome thing about playing Jerry Lee Lewis is that, I feel as though I was able to... It's all right, baby. You okay? Shh. I feel like, here is this 6 foot, 125-pound, scrawny kid with acne out of the hills of East Tennessee who had no confidence. And still, it was difficult to sort of grab a hold of that. Even when the Tony happened, I wasn't really believing it. And the therapy, frankly, of playing Jerry Lee Lewis, 8 shows a week, there is such a belief in himself that I can almost find has bled over into my life and has given me a little bit of more of an ownership of who I am, a more sense of personal power, and frankly, the ability to be unapologetic about who I am.
Mm-hmm. What have your interactions been like with the real Jerry Lee Lewis? I know he came to the show and played with you guys.
Absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. I was very, he was nothing everyone said he would be. Would you like to hold her?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's
Maybe
try
she
that.
wants to see. Okay, I think she just wants down for a minute.
Cutie. Smell me out. Smell me out.
So yeah, this is. Did you see Genevieve? Did we officially introduce Genevieve? Because this is her big moment. This
big moment.
This is the only
crotch.
moment we're gonna give her. Actually, she'll be fine there. Okay. So the first 10 minutes of meeting Jerry Lee Lewis, I felt as though I made a concerted effort to throw out all my Southern credentials. To kind of find that commonality. To say, hey, look, I'm cut from the same cloth as you and your family, and I used to listen to those Jimmy Swaggart songs growing up and sing them in church, and I knew, he was a part of my life, and I wanted him to know that. And he was really gracious. He was complimentary about the show. He was lovely.
What about all these other crazy guest stars? Anyone sort of stand out as a really great night?
Well, we didn't have Jerry Springer as a guest star, but he did show up this past week, and that kind of made my made my year already. Meeting Jerry Springer,
He didn't play or sing?
because the white trash in me still loves to watch that show.
Did you? It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you tell him you were a big fan?
I came down and practically hugged him. I jumped down the steps and was like, ah! He looked at me like, oh, you know. I suppose if he had not seen me act like a fool for 90 minutes in Million Dollar Quartet, just then it would have been surprised, but I think he knew to expect it.
So on February 28th, you're at Joe's Pub, and your boyfriend, Jason Antone, is opening.
We'll be starting the evening.
And you're playing with Eric Hyman.
Eric Hyman, a multi-award-winning independent artist, the first artist that I went on the road on a national tour with. Incredible.
So what can your Broadway fans expect if they come down and check the show out?
Something they've never seen in Million Dollar Quartet, which is, the fact is my story of New York City starts well before Million Dollar Quartet. It starts with Atlantic Records, it starts with The Apprentice, it starts with XM Radio and this album and this national tour and everything that sort of happened coming out of what I thought was my misfortune into owning who I am, and in owning who I am, finding my success. So this experience on Broadway has been a lovely extension to what a journey for me that started 6 years ago.
Do you think you'll be back on Broadway?
You never say never.
So now, I know you have your hair covered, but I kind of have hair envy of you when I watch the show.
Okay.
Let's talk about your hair for a minute.
Let's cut it. Let's not talk about it. Let's
Wait,
cut it.
like that. You could do a Billy Idol kind of thing.
Yeah.
So how do you get your hair to look so awesome?
Does it look awesome?
I think it looks
fight
awesome.
with it
On
every
stage,
day.
it
I
looks
curse it. I fight it. I beat it into submission. I spray it. I pomade it. Me and this hair goes round and round for sure.
So is the hair going through 2011 with you?
No. Not 24 hours will pass, I tell you,
Should
that
we
it
do
will
during a
not
curtain
be
call?
cut.
Let's do it during a curtain call.
I've even talked to one of my dressers to have the scissors ready, that I would come off stage and go downstairs and finally cut off the hair. Yeah.
It's a relief for you.
It is. It is. I like low manageability. I don't want to have to worry about grooming and pumping and greasing and spraying.
Well, you've done a good job with it.
Thank you. Can I put my hat back on?
You can put your hat back on. Thank you for revealing it. I appreciate that. Well, thank you for coming by. And
it's a pleasure.
It's been great. It's been a great year with you on Broadway. You've made things pretty exciting.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all your success.
It'll be fun to come back some mysterious
Never say never.
day in the future. Never say never.
And we will all be we'll be watching you, listening to your music, and check you out at Joe's Pub.
Excellent. February 28th.
And so me and this little beauty, we say thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.